Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. As the weather's getting a bit colder and we're getting ever closer to winter, I decided to make one of my favourite recipes for this time of year. Today we're going to be making a spiced apple and raisin crumble. This is a gorgeous recipe which is great for family dinners or for a dinner party, and it's great for a nice bit of warmth at the end of the night and a lovely bit of spice and festiveness. So, for this recipe you will need 110 grams of plain flour, 110 grams of porridge oats, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 900 grams of Bramley apples, peeled, cored and sliced, 2 tablespoons of water, 75 grams of unsalted butter chopped into cubes, 75 grams of raisins, 110 grams of soft brown sugar for the crumble, and 50 grams of soft brown sugar for the filling. You'll also need a pie dish, a wooden spoon, a large mixing bowl and a saucepan with lid. So, let's get started. For this recipe you need to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius. That's gas mark 4. So what you want to do first is take your porridge oats and place them into your mixing bowl. You want to add in your flour, and you want to mix these together using your wooden spoon, like that. Then what you want to do is add your butter to the mix. Now we've put it into little cubes to make it easier to mix through, so it's not as likely to ruin the crumble, because you want this to be really crumbly, you don't want it to be smooth. Okay, and then the fun bit. So you want to make sure you've got nice clean hands. I washed mine just before we started. And you want to get in there with your hands and just use your fingertips to crumble the butter through the mixture. Try not to use the rest of your hands, as the palms of your hands are quite sweaty and quite warm, and that can melt the butter in, and we don't want it to be smooth, we want it to be crumbly. So the fat in the butter needs to disperse evenly throughout the crumble topping, and that's what we're doing when we're doing this mixing. So keep mixing with your fingertips until you get a nice, even mixture. When you've finished crumbling everything together and the fat is evenly dispersed, you should have a mixture that looks something like this. So as you can see, nice even crumble, no big bits of butter sticking out, and everything's nicely combined. The next thing you want to do is add your 110 grams of soft brown sugar. And you want to combine that through with the spoon. You don't want to make this a smooth mixture, so try not to over stir it, but combine it all through until it's nice and even. Then all you need to do is pop that to the side for later. The next thing you want to do is make your filling. So take your large saucepan. I'm using a ceramic one because they don't stick as easily. What you want to do is pop in your apples. Don't worry if they fill the pan quite high, because they will reduce, and don't worry if they start to go slightly brownish where you've had them cut up. It's not going to taste any different because of that. When they reduce down, it's going to return to its beautiful apple flavour and colour. On top of that, you want to add your 75 grams of raisins, your 50 grams of soft brown sugar, just sprinkle that over the top, your teaspoon of ground cinnamon, your 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. You only need a very little bit of ground cloves because they are quite strong. and then sprinkle over it your 2 tablespoons of water. I pre-measured mine into this handy little jug because I find it easier to sprinkle that way. And then you want to pop the lid on that and take it over. So you want to pick a medium-sized ring and you want to turn it onto a gentle flame. You want to do this slowly so that when you're cooking the filling you really release the flavours of all the ingredients rather than cook it too quickly. Pop your saucepan onto the stove and cook gently until the apple is soft and fluffy. You need to keep stirring throughout the cooking process to make sure all the spices really mix through, and just be careful at the start when it's still quite full not to overflow it. This should take around 10 minutes. When you've finished cooking your filling and it's reduced to the soft, fluffy apple stage, you want to bring it back over onto a board, careful because the saucepan will be hot. And this smells, it just smells of winter. It smells of spices and mulled wine, and it's amazing. Now, if you just pour this carefully into your pie dish, the steam coming off this is insane. Making sure to get all that yummy filling. And spread out with your spoon. The sultanas tend to drop to the bottom when you're cooking the filling, but it's okay because when you spread them into the pie dish they even out. Next thing you want to do is leave that to cool for about 10 minutes, only because if you put the crumble topping straight on top the butter will melt and you won't get that beautiful crumbly texture when you eat it. When your filling has cooled for 10 to 15 minutes, it's not going to be totally cold, it's still going to be some warmth coming off it, it's just not going to be piping hot. You want to take your crumble topping, now note I've actually put the pie dish on a small board because the heat was going through it. You want to pour your topping on top of the crumble. Now when you spread this out you want to do it with a fork as opposed to a spoon, because what you don't want to do is flatten it in any way. You want the air to be able to get through the crumble topping so that it stays light and crumbly and beautiful. So just spread it out gently with the fork. Try and get an even layer if you can. And just agitate it a bit to make sure you haven't made it too flat. And then go around the edges and push in any bits. This will allow the air to go in the sides, not get trapped, and therefore the crumble shouldn't overfill or spill in the oven. Next you want to pop your crumble into your preheated oven. The shelf should be on the middle of the oven. Careful because the crumble dish will be hot. Push it into the middle and pop the door closed. Next you want to set your timer for between 30 and 40 minutes. I always like to hit it in the middle with 35, and then you can always add the extra 5 if you need to. And then you can kick back and relax and wait for the smells to fill your house. When your crumble's finished baking in the oven, lift it out and pop it on a wooden board so it doesn't burn anything. And it should look something like this. And that is it! Your finished spiced apple and raisin crumble. It smells delicious and the heat coming off it's lovely. The whole house is filled with amazing smells. And that's done for your dinner. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit our subscribe button. Down below I'll link our latest video, and please comment if there's any things you want to see us bake, cook, make, or any other videos or tags that you want us to do. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.